Hi, in this video tutorial, we will going to learn how we can use the in-app purchase products in the multiple scenes. In the previous tutorial, as we learned that if you select the IAP, we created the consumable item, non-consumable items and the subscription item. And these UI buttons we set up in the previous tutorials and even tested it on both Android and the iOS device. Currently, you can see we can use the IAP manager script in this single scene. Now let's learn how we can use the IAP manager in multiple scenes, as well as we will going to learn how we can spawn the UI buttons during runtime, which will handle the in-app purchases. To learn about it, as you can see that I have this button called load next scene, which currently load the scene number 1. This is the scene number 0. Here you will going to find inside the scene loader I have this Mobile Monetization Pro load scene, which basically if you select the load next scene button, you will going to find it basically loads the scene number 1. Now let's create this scene number 1. To understand this, first we need to click on the file and then click on the save as, and here inside the Mobile Monetization Pro scenes I will just going to create so basically this is the scene 1 and this is the scene number 2, and let's just save it over here. Great. And this scene, let's go back to the canvas, and here in the load next scene, let's just load the previous scene, which is the scene number 0, and then make sure to go to file, save scene, and then file, build profiles, and add this scene. Click on the open scene list and add this scene. I will just going to delete the previous scene, and now we have the demo game and the demo game scene 2. After this, basically in this demo game scene 2, we will going to instantiate the UI buttons in the runtime. Rather than adding the UI buttons over here and setting it up over here, we will going to instantiate these UI buttons, and the IAP manager will automatically going to set up this newly instantiated buttons as well as its chosen options automatically. For this case, first we will going to reset this script in the demo game scene 2. Here, you don't need to add the restore purchase button if you only want to use the restore purchase button 1 for the initial scene. There we have already added the restore purchase button, so we don't need to add it over here again. So you can leave this field empty. After this, what we can do is that we can just select the first UI button, which is this chest over here. And let's say we want to instantiate these UI buttons during the runtime. And for this case, first we need to add a component over here called add IAP product. Make sure you add this component where your button is attached. After this, you will going to find that we have this IAP product catalog that we need to assign over here, and we need to basically set up the product ID, product category, and all the other related fields. But before that, let's go back to the initial scene. Go back to the project, scenes, and then the demo game. Let's save this scene. And here, right click in the hierarchy, create another empty game object and call it as the IAP Global Manager. After this, we need to add a component called Mobile Monetization Pro Global IAP. This is very important, and we need to make sure that you add this script in your very first initial scene of the game. So right now our initial scene is the demo game, so we have added the script over here. And now to assign the IAP product catalog, we need to go back to the project and create a product catalog. Let's go to the assets, right click on the assets and create another folder over here and call it as the IAP product catalog. And inside this, we can just create an IAP product catalog. For this case, we can just right click, click on the create, and then click on the IAP over here, and then click on the IAP product catalog. Let's just press enter. Now, in this case, we need to make sure when we use the global IAP, we need to drag and drop this IAP product catalog just right over here. And then we need to make sure to add all the consumable, non-consumable, and the subscription product ID over here. This is very important, otherwise the script will not be able to function properly. So make sure you add them. For this case, first we need to go back to the IAP. Let's just copy it one by one. So let's just copy this product ID first from here. Let's click on the plus sign, add it for the consumable, go back to the IAP script, copy it for the remove ads. I will paste it in the non-consumable. And similarly for the subscription, we can just copy the product ID here and paste it for the subscription. You can add more if you have, but I have these product IDs that I have set up in the Google Play and the App Store in the previous tutorial. After this is done, and once you have assigned the IP product catalog, our scene 0 is ready. Now we need to do the setup in the next scene. For this case, we will go back to the scenes and then demo game scene 2. Let's save this scene. And over here, let's select the canvas, expand the canvas, and now select this chest button over here. And here let's just assign this IAP product catalog that we just created. So I will just going to drag and drop it over here. For the product ID, as I will going to use the same product ID for this product as well. So I will just going to copy this, get 5,000 coins. You can definitely, if you have, if you want to use a different product ID, you can use that as well. For now, I will just going to copy paste it over here. And then for the product category, you can choose the consumable, non-consumable, or the subscription. I will going to choose the consumable. And if you want to display the localized price in the price text, you can check this checkbox and then drag and drop the price text over here. So this will going to automatically change this price according to the country currency. Now here, once the purchase is successful, we need to make sure to give the reward to the clear. And for this case, as you know, in the previous tutorial, we talked about the demo shop script. We will going to use the same demo shop script over here, but as we will going to instantiate these UI buttons, we need a separate script which can access the demo shop script. Basically, the demo shop script has an instance which we can use to access it. For this case, if you just select the chest button over here, we will going to add another component called shop actions. If you look at the shop actions, you will going to find I'm basically getting the instance of the demo shop script, and then we have just created the functions over here for the consumable, non-consumable, and the subscription. You can see I'm just calling the instance dot buy more coins, instance dot buy remove ads from the game, etc. We will going to use the same script over here. Basically, you just need to drag and place the script over here, and for the function to call on purchase, we will going to choose the buy more coins. Here you can decide if you want this consumable item to be purchased in quantity. You can always check this checkbox. Let's just check it for now. After this is done, we need to do the same setup for the non-consumable and the subscription. For this case, we will just going to select the no ads button over here and then add this same scripts, add IAP product and the shop actions. For the product catalog, we will just going to assign it over here. And for the product ID, let's just copy this remove ads over here and paste it over here. For the product category, let's choose the non-consumable. Let's here check the display localized price as well and drag and drop the price text over here. And now once the non-consumable item is purchased, we need to basically remove the ads. For this case, we will just going to drag and drop the shop actions script over here and choose here remove ads. For the non-consumable settings, there are some few options that we can use, which is remove ads on purchase. So if this checkbox is checked, then it will going to remove all the ads that you have integrated using the Mobile Monetization Pro. So if you have used the Mobile Monetization Pro level play ads or the ad mob ads, you can check this checkbox. So when the player purchase the remove ads, then those ads will be removed from the game except the rewarded video ads. In case the player gets the refund for the non-consumable item, then you can even check this checkbox call function on refund. which will, in case the player is refunded back, then we can basically restart ads or call any other function if we want. For this case, let's just call function on refund, as well as I will going to check the checkbox called restart ads on refund. Again, if you are using the Mobile Monetization Pro ad mob or the level play ads, you can check this checkbox, which will going to restart the ads in the game. And for the refund script, we will assign the refund script over here, which is the shop actions, and then I will just going to call the function restart ads. Once this is done, we can now go to the subscription. This is the subscription button. Let's add the same add IAP script and the shop actions. And let's just set up it quickly. Let's just assign the IAP product catalog, copy this, get VIP badge, product ID, and let's just paste it over here. Choose the product category to be the subscription. And let's just drag and drop here the price text for the subscription item, drag and drop the shop actions, and here we will going to choose the activate VIP. Now here you will going to find additional subscription settings that we need to do. We just need to assign here the shop actions again, and you can see that once the subscription is activated, we can choose here two different functions from the same script. Let's choose the activate VIP again, and here let's just choose the deactivate VIP. So once the subscription is expired, then we will going to deactivate the subscription badge, and once it is activated, we will going to show the subscription badge in the game like we did in the previous part. After this setup is completed, make the prefabs of these. So you can see we will going to spawn them in the runtime. As we can see, we have set a bit up properly. Now what we can do is we can just right click in the project, create another folder, and call it as the IAP prefabs. And inside the IAP prefabs, we can just drag and drop these buttons over here. So let's just drag and drop the chest background, no ads background, as well as the buy VIP subscription. So these are the prefabs now in the second scene. Now to be able to spawn these prefabs and to even destroy this prefab in the runtime, we need two more UI buttons. One is called the spawn UI buttons and the other one to destroy the buttons. Before that, right click in the hierarchy, create another empty game object and call it as the UI buttons spawner. And in this, add a component called the UI button spawner. Now here we can assign these three buttons, prefabs. Just drag and drop each of them. Let's say sub consumable one, then the non-consumable, and then the subscription. After this, for the position and the rotation, we can just get the position and the rotation to be exactly the same. For this case, just select the chest background. You can see the X and the Y position over here. Let's just copy the X, and for the Y it's 534. So let's just go back to the UI button spawner, paste it on the X, and on the Y it is 534. So let's just enter it like that. For the rotation, let's just keep it to be 000. Do the same for the no ads, which is the non-consumable. Copy it on the X. For the Y, 223. And for the subscription, let's just copy it on the X. And for the Y, it is 869. Once this setup is completed, we also need to make sure here to set the canvas parent, which is in this case canvas. So if you assign it to the canvas, then it will going to be the parent of these buttons when instantiating will be where their parent will be the canvas. So you can even assign any game objects. For this case, I will assign the menu so that it gets to the menu when it gets spawned. For the spawn button and the destroy button, we can go to the menu, and basically we can just duplicate one of these buttons over here. So just duplicate this load next scene and put it somewhere over here. Let's duplicate it another time and put it over here. Let's rename this one to be the spawn UI buttons, and its text as well to be the spawn UI buttons. Okay, and now what we need to do, we just need to We don't need to here load the next scene, so we can just click on the minus over here. And similarly, we can just call this next scene to be destroy UI buttons. Let's just remove it, and I will just going to call the text to be the same, destroy UI buttons, destroy UI buttons text. Great. So once this setup is completed, we can just assign the spawn UI buttons over here, destroy button over here. And now what we can do is we can even delete these subscription, no ads, and the chest background from here. So this way it will going to look something like this. Select the canvas again. Let's save this scene, save the project. And now before we test it on the real Android device, let's see how does it work. Basically, if you go back to the scene number 0, which is the demo game over here, let's just push play over here. So you can see that we have this in-app purchase manager, which is set up for this case. And we have the in-app purchase global manager, which will from the initial scene to the other scenes, it will going to stay in all the scenes basically, because we are going to make sure that it do not get destroyed on the load. Now here if we press the load next scene, then you will going to find the IAP global manager stays like that, as well as if you select the IAP, currently you can see nothing is added over here, but as soon as we click on the spawn UI buttons, we will going to find that it will automatically going to set up this for us. And when we click on the destroy UI buttons, if we're going to remove all of these UI buttons, so let's just instantiate them again. Great. So this is how we will be able to use the in-app purchase in multiple scenes. Let's just exit the play mode right now. And now let's just test it directly on the real Android device. For this case, let's just go to file and then just click on the build and run. Make sure your Android device is connected. So here on my Android device, let's open up the game and let's click on the subscription, and you can see we have already subscribed, and you can see that the no ads is also purchased. And for the consumable, it's working. Let's click on the load next scene and then click on the spawn UI buttons. Let's click on the no ads, and you can see this item is already purchased. And for the consumable, let's click on this, select the two quantities and purchase it. Great. Now we can see 10,000 coins. And even for the subscription, we can see it's already purchased. Let's destroy these UI buttons and spawn them again. And now let's click on it again. And you can see we can use them again. Let's click on the load next scene now. This is the previous scene that we have. And you can see here also the consumable item is working properly. Great. So this is how you can use this second approach for setting up the IAP in multiple scenes. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.